to the next phase of my life. And Cleveland on paper was the best team for me to go to. They needed a guard of my caliber. And I was happy to be there after. Actually, I thought of retiring now. I didn't go there right away. It took me like 2 or 3 weeks before I decided to go there.
Earl Monroe tied up by some defense. Why are you wearing number 11, by the way?
Because the guy named Snyder was wearing number 10. And in those days, nobody would pay you for your number. Like today, guys would give a guy some money to get that particular number. So I had to wear number 11.
Any reason that you picked 11? You could have gone some other way, right?
I guess because it was close to 10.
Okay.
In high school, I was 52. In college, I wore 52. So that would have been out of place in the pros.
Now, the center on your team who just had the ball was Jim Chones. Chones was a rarity. He came out before his class in college at Marquette graduated. And there he is, number 22. And the interesting thing there is Chones started out in the ABA on Long Island with the New York Nets, and then eventually, after you came to Cleveland, he rescued you from the Holiday Inn?
Yeah, he invited me to live with him. He had a couple of twin daughters, a wife, and that really helped me, man. Because being in the Holiday Inn, not a lot of room out in the wilderness, so I was able to feel a little more comfortable at home. And this guy, you talk about an audiophile. This guy loves music, man. I'd never heard of Steely Dan and the people that he was playing at his house. And plus, he loved to drive, so I never had to drive to the games or back. So it was a perfect marriage with Chones. So my first season, I stayed with him.
Well, 3 years from this moment, if you want to spin the time machine, Jim Chones will win an NBA championship as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers.
And now he has daughters that are professional players. Those twin daughters turned out to be good athletes as well.
So this is a back-and-forth game. The Garden is interesting. They're not buzzing when you get the ball, but they're making some noise when you score. They're still on your side. After the game, you were quoted as saying, "Tonight, I was the greatest. They still love me."
Yeah, I had during the Knicks, I averaged, I think, 25 points a game against the Knicks in the games that I returned.
That was Butch Beard.
Butch Beard off the glass.
Yeah, Beard still had the quickness, so that was a very good move. That was good defense, but better offense by Beard. There's our orchestrator right there, Foots Walker. And he was a guy who's, I guess, personifies the point guard today. He really doesn't look to score. Whoa.
I bet you forgot that one.
Yeah, what was that, Clyde? Yeah.
Clyde, there you go.
All right, redemption.
Is the memory of this game a little fuzzy, or do you have a very good memory of it?
No, I just know that we won. I played great. The crowd was ambivalent. They didn't know who to cheer for, the Knicks or me. And the game would go into overtime, and we was prevailed. So it was like a sort of a Hollywood ending for me. Jim Brewer, very good player, rebounder, defender.
Lonnie Shelton playing defense for the Knicks.
Walt Frazier.
There you go, Clyde. You're starting to get it going now.
Starting to percolate.
Now, Jim Clemens is the player that the Knicks got. You want to talk about pressure, huh?
Yeah, I know.
In the trade for Walt Clyde Frazier, Jim Clemens.
That was Jim McMillan.
And you talk about interaction. Now he's with Phil Jackson. I'm sure he developed that relationship with Phil after he was traded to the Knicks. So he's been a coach with Phil throughout his career now.
There's Jim Chones.
Baseball foul charge against.
So this is Walt Clyde Frazier's return in October of 1977. We have edited it slightly. Sometimes we have what the fans saw on television. Sometimes we have a camera isolated like we are here from the end zone, and it gets a little crazy. So the first quarter is done.
That's the end of the first quarter.
So stay here with us. This is Clyde's return to the Garden in 1977. Back we are in the vault, and this is Madison Square Garden, October 25th, 1977. And that man with the basketball, Walt Clyde Frazier, is returning to Madison Square Garden after being traded to a place he's called Siberia. And Walt Clyde Frazier is here with us to relive this night at the Garden in which he scores 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 steals. So you came to play a little harder in this one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. You know, I had to. That was my return to the Garden. I had to try to put on a show. And my teammates also encouraged me, Al. Every time down, they were like, come on, Clyde, give it. You know, during the timeouts, they were telling me to get fired up. They would get me the ball. And that helped me facilitate what I was doing on the court.
Walt Frazier.
Clyde, I've read so much about what was happening with the Knicks up to the point where you got traded. Tell me about why some players were not surprised that you got traded and why some players like Earl Monroe were a little bit surprised. What was happening with the team? What was happening with you and your attitude toward it?
Well, the team was floundering, and I seemed to be the culprit. You know, the paper was singling out what I wasn't doing anymore, and I remember I was injured, and they were saying the team was better without me, and so then that was the trade rumors kind of subsided, and that's why I was surprised that it happened, and probably why Earl was saying he was surprised as well, because Earl was injured in the preseason. I had an extraordinary preseason. I led the team in scoring and everything. So the trade rumors had died down, and then all of a sudden, you know, there it was. I was traded.
And what did you think Willis Reed's involvement in the trade was?
I didn't really know, but I found out later that he was the guy who wanted me traded. And I was somewhat hurt and surprised because Willis was always a guy, if he had something to say to you, he would say it to your face. And he never came to me and told me that.
And I remember you saying that the fans loved the fact that you were cool and apparently unemotional. But when the team started losing, they thought that you were cool and unemotional, and they wanted you to show emotion. So that, you know what I mean? It was two sides of the fence.
Right. That I was aloof, that I didn't care anymore because, look at, I didn't show the emotion on the court. So that kind of worked against me once the team wasn't winning. But my numbers weren't that far off from what I was doing before. So, you know, it was disappointing, man. I always wanted to end my career in New York, and I never thought of being traded. So when it happened, it was devastating.
That's Jim Clemens guarding Clyde. They were traded for each other.
I thought Ray Williams was a marvelous talent, big, strong dude, could run and jump. And, you know, so I knew they were preparing him for the future.
Well, you get credited with one of your 5 steals, and there's the late Dick McGuire sitting next to Willis Reed. And that was a bad turnover by Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I knew what Phil was trying to do. I knew he was very careless with the ball. Watch this. I read his mind. Get into the passing lane. Every player had their idiosyncrasies, especially the big guys, and I kind of made a living with the steals.
So we move ahead, and what we have left of this Walt Clyde Frazier return, again, to me, these videos that we find are literally like buried treasure. You never know what's there. And you look at the score, the way they put it on the screen. I mean, this is ancient stuff. And unfortunately, we don't even have anywhere the ovation for Walt Frazier when he was introduced at the Garden. McAdoo, oh yeah, he's going to take that shot. Also, you notice that the benches are not on the same side of the floor that they are on now. Clyde, are you okay?
Yeah, you know, I was always resting, getting an extra rest there. That started because sometimes I would get knocked down in a game, and Holtzman would run out there and say, stay down, Clyde, stay down. Let the big guys get a rest.
And you know what I noticed, Clyde? You're wearing Pumas. Those were Clyde's, and they were blue, so those must have been left over from your Knick locker.
Yeah, that was the best-selling one at the time with the blue stripe.
It's Ray Williams with the ball. It's close. Cavaliers by 3. There's Jim Clemens. Boy, to be in his head on this particular night. Did you and him talk at all?
No, we didn't.
Did it matter to you who the Knicks traded for you?
No, it would have still been disappointing no matter what. Oh, nice pass.
No basket.
At the time, they were talking about Jabbar, that they might trade me for Jabbar and all of that with the Bucks. So I was like, so I kind of just played it off that it might not happen, hoping that it would not happen.
Yeah, how come you're not guarding Earl Monroe?
Good question. I don't know. I know at times Earl was guarding me.
And it's going the other way.
There's the Pearl. He had bad knees as a rookie, so I never thought he'd be in the league longer than I would be.
Scores
But right here, yeah, he's guarding me this particular time.
How about that? Earl Monroe guarding Walt Clyde Frazier on this emotional night, heading to the end of the first half.
Earl and I never talked either. We didn't say anything other than originally during the toss-up. We just said hello, what was going on, how are you doing?
Well, this is the oddity of it all. The Cavaliers win this game in overtime. Clyde has a big game, and we don't have any video evidence of it at all. The final score would be 117-112. Thanks, Clyde.
Thank you, Al.